12:30, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. For the next couple of hours, 2.5 to be exact, we're going to bring you local, live, and international news as it's coming into the WCNC Charlotte newsroom. Of course, today being the day after Thanksgiving. Still a tradition. A lot of folks like to go shopping day after for those great sales. And our Anna King is live right now. She joins us from the Charlotte Premium Outlets, where I see and hear plenty of action behind you. Anna, have you been able to shop for any deals in between talking to shoppers out there?
I have not been able to shop for any deals myself, but the crowd out here, I'm going to get out of the way so you can see what it looks like out here. It has been packed out here all day. We actually did manage, though, to speak to some shoppers who told us they have been out here since before sunrise. And the parking, I was talking a little bit about the parking situation first. It took us about 25 minutes to find parking before we actually got our special news parking. But some shoppers here told us it took them a long time to find parking, but they were definitely determined to find parking so they could hurry in and snag some of these deals. Some of the popular stores that we're looking at here are Michael Kors. You see a long.
Oh man, it looks like we got dropped the signal there. We'll see if we can get her back. She was just telling where the good deals are. Oh, there she is. All right, back to you, Anna. Your signal dropped out just as you were telling us where all the good deals were, what people were buying. I'm like, where? What are they shopping for? All right, go ahead.
So there's a long line outside of Michael Kors, of course, Tommy Hilfiger, Coach, just some of the more designer brands. The lines out here are super, super long. Nike as well. And we did, again, speak to some of the shoppers who told us they got here very early. They said this is typically their very first stop. So we're actually speaking to them made me a little less surprised that the parking lot was so full, because a lot of people head out here for these Black Friday deals.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the key then to parking besides getting your a news parking van pass?
A news parking pass is the key for us, but for everyone else, they were saying, I spoke to them, they said they like to park in the medians. I'm not suggesting this, but they said they like to park in the medians and in the grass in between other cars so they can't get towed, which was kind of funny. But I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that's what you can expect if you come out here.
Exactly. We are just reporting what is happening out there, right, Anna?
Not suggesting that at all.
Okay, and as far as crowds, sometimes when it gets too crowded and people are trying to get the best deal and trying to get in there real fast and furious, as far as crowds and safety, do you sense that people are behaving themselves?
Yes, I did. I spoke to some shoppers about that too. I tried to get an idea of what the crowd has been like today, because it is packed, but they've been saying that everyone here has been pretty calm, pretty relaxed, and in good spirits, because I think everyone out here kind of gets the idea that it's packed, we're busy, but we're all here for the same reasons, to get a good deal.
Right, exactly. So everybody needs to keep that in mind when you're shopping this early. All right, Anna. Well, there could be worse assignments out there, so thanks for showing us the sound and sights Black Friday. Some people still want to go shopping on Black Friday, even though all those sales are online. All right, from there, let's talk about what is happening right now. And here in the Carolinas, there was a homicide overnight. Investigation taking place in Rock Hill. This is on Eden Creek Drive, 2300 block there near Arrowhead. They did find one male deceased at an apartment complex, 18 years old, after hearing shots fired overnight. So unfortunate for the Rock Hill area, and night into after the Thanksgiving holiday. Let's see. We also are working on this. We are standing by because SpaceX is actually getting ready to launch dozens of small satellites into orbit today, around 1 o'clock. So this is SpaceX. This is from the Vandenberg Space Force Base, and that will be happening around 1:18. We are going to pick up some coverage starting at 1 o'clock here and try to dip into that as we can see some pictures and monitor that situation on Live Impact News. Also, coming up at 1 o'clock, a special initiative happening in the Carolinas with Opera Carolina. So, we're going to talk to Dr. Shantae Williams. She's been a frequent guest here talking about this initiative that is really going to pave the way for some opportunities for everyone, not just singers and artists, but also folks behind the scenes. So, we'll talk more about that coming up at 1 o'clock. In the meantime, Jeb, where should we go?
I want to take a break real quick here.
Let's do that. We're going to take a break on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll see you on the other side. .38 right now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Happy Black Friday to you. As you can imagine, a fairly light news day, but happening just moments ago, wrapped up moments ago, Senator Richard Blumenthal out of Connecticut held a gaggle with media, and this was in his home state of Connecticut. Let's see what he had to talk about and dip into this here on WCNC Plus.
That the so-called deals may be illusory. They may involve misleading and deceptive tactics. I want the industry-wide practices to be investigated by the FTC, if only to educate consumers. Have various rules, they're complex, intricate, and they have a lot of loopholes. And we may need to close them by legislation. But right now, shoppers deserve the truth.
Had conversations with other colleagues in the Senate about doing your own investigation or trying to force the FTC's hand?
We don't have the resources that the Federal Trade Commission does, but if it fails to conduct an investigation, we'll consider doing one in the Congress. The FTC has the resources, the expertise, the data, and the rules that it can enforce, and we can't bring lawsuits.
I wanted to get your reaction to the president saying on social media yesterday that he wants to stop immigration from 19 countries, including Afghanistan, in the wake of the 2 National Guardsmen who were shot. What is your reaction to Trump's latest comments about immigration?
Well, let me say, this attack on our National Guard is absolutely stomach-turning and heartbreaking, and the death of a National Guards person.
He's just borrowing it? You can't borrow it? You
No,
sure?
thank you.
Are you sure?
Thank
You're
you, though.
freezing.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. He's freezing.
This death is heartbreaking, and our National Guardsmen deserve support, all of our military, no matter where they're deployed. I think that we need to consider carefully how immigrants seeking asylum here have been reviewed, but a broad, across the nation deportation policy ought to be informed by a careful consideration of the facts. I've advocated that our Afghan allies, the men and women who aided our troops abroad, should be given asylum here if they are subject to persecution in Afghanistan. But we need to review very carefully all of the people who seek admission to the United States to determine whether they are dangerous, whether they have committed crimes in other countries, and that vetting and investigative process should be subject to review if in fact it was lacking in thoroughness or accuracy.
Do you share their concerns that, I mean, obviously you want to see the vetting process be vetted. Do you share the concerns that FBI Director Patel and others have raised that the vetting process has just completely failed in this case and perhaps more broadly is inadequate?
We ought to review the vetting process to determine whether or not it sufficiently and accurately determines the dangerousness of people who may be coming here. But many of these Afghan allies have aided our troops abroad. They've saved lives. They've enabled diplomats to do their jobs, and we will rely on them in other conflicts. So we need a careful person-by-person vetting and examination, and to review that process to determine whether it's been adequate in the past. But this kind of really tragic, heartbreaking instance may involve a person who simply should not have been here and should have been vetted out, or should have been given some treatment for PTS or other kind of mental health issues.
More broadly, I mean, going back to the president's first term in office, he's made no secret that he wants to limit or even stop immigration from certain countries. You know, there's 19 that they're pointing to now. Just what are your reaction to that? What are your thoughts about just stopping immigration from select countries?
Well, I think we ought to review individuals based on their particular characteristics, not an across-the-board ban on people from countries where our troops and diplomats have been aided by people who have served as guards or interpreters, translators. I've advocated that we need an Afghan adjustment program that involves vetting and determinations on an individual basis, not across-the-board deportation policies that may be based on bias or prejudice. These Afghan at-risk allies aided our troops and diplomats during the wars there, and they helped to save lives, guards, interpreters, translators, and they now have targets on their backs because the Taliban will persecute and torture and kill them if they are returned to those countries. So the policies that apply to at-risk Afghan allies should be on a person-by-person basis. The vetting should be thorough, and the process should be reviewed to determine whether it has been adequate. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
And we will take a break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 12:47 on this Black Friday, I'm Jane Monreal. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. So we know today is Black Friday, big shopping day. Folks need to get back into the black, if you will, for the end of the year profits and making some last minute money. But tomorrow, Saturday, is Small Business Saturday. Also a great opportunity for those shops that we don't know about, the small mom and pop shops and the non-chains, of course, that also are making a living and hope to capitalize on the end of the year and holiday season. I interviewed Brianna Bowers from Charlotte Center City Partners earlier this week and what it means for Shop Small Saturday. It's going to be an event happening in South End. We'll play for this for you now on Live Impact News. At 9:39, you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus on this Monday morning of what is going to be the start, and we are just ramping up, getting into the thick of things for this holiday season, right? So as you think about your turkey dinner, I know a lot of folks are already thinking about shopping. I've seen those pre-Black Friday sales and ads. It's like, are we calling this pre-Black Friday now? Is that going to be
that's a thing?
That's going to be a thing, pre-Black Friday.
I don't hate it.
Right? We all take advantage of that. So this holiday shopping season, right, it's in full swing. And this Saturday, Charlotte's South End neighborhood is hosting its Shop Small Saturday event. It's a great one. Joining us right now here in the studio, Brianna Bowers from Charlotte Center City Partners to tell us more about this year's event. Brianna, nice to have you here again.
Thank you for having me back. I'm so excited to talk about Shop Small.
Oh, I mean, so many fun things that happen, and Charlotte Center City Partners is such a great group that helps foster all of these events. All right, so this one, though, in the South End area has been a tradition for what, since 2011?
Yes.
Wow, what makes this year's event, or what makes this event so special?
Oh gosh, it is just the one-stop shop for shopping with all of the small businesses. We close down Camden Road and we line it with over 120 small business vendors. So you can expect everything from body care to pet care to jewelry to clothing, and even more. And it really is just a great way to check off your gift list while making sure that you are supporting some small businesses.
Yeah, I see 120 small business vendors participating.
Yes.
You named some of the items and a lot of unique items too.
Yes.
There on Camden Road. Talk to us about the Holiday Zone at the Design Center. What can we expect there?
Yes, so if you need a little break from shopping, you can step into our Holiday Zone, which is basically all things festive. We're going to have some holiday karaoke that you can participate in.
Oh, say no more.
Yes, Santa is going to be on site from 12 to 3 p.m. so you can come by and get your perfect photo with Santa to use for your holiday card. There's going to be a gift wrapping station, mistletoe moments, and 500 hot chocolates with Shake Shack for the first 500 people to come by the Holiday Zone.
All right.
So we're super excited. All of these activations are brought to us by local businesses such as J. Majors Bridal and Great Star and Huntington Bank, and we are just so excited.
The Shop Small Hero Card Program, what is that about for shoppers?
Yes, so stop by the South End Info Tent. There's going to be 2 near each entrance of the event. There's 2 entrances. So stop by and grab your hero card. What you're going to do is for every $10 that you spend with a small business, they're going to give you a sticker. If you fill up 5, I believe, spots on your hero card, you can exchange that back at the South End Info Tent for a South End tote bag.
Okay, very good. And then continue shopping, right?
Yes.
For folks who have not been to South End before, during a regular weekend, it can be challenging to find parking, all right? It can be a little tricky in the area. What do people need to know about going this weekend?
This weekend there will definitely account for parking.
Okay.
Make sure that you...
The light rail, too.
You can take the light rail in. It's going to be East-West Boulevard Station. That's going to be your closest get-on, get-off point. Parking will definitely be available. You just need to make sure that you're ready to find a spot and then get out and go shopping, and make sure that you also grab some lunch or some dinner in the area and just make it a full South End day.
Yeah, so many good restaurants there too. So fun just to take the day and walk the little not light rail,
The rail trail.
rail trail. That shows you how much I use the rail trail because I'm such the runner. All right, why is it so important to support small businesses?
Oh gosh, supporting these small businesses, it really does mean supporting their dreams. It really does mean so much to these businesses. We hear it every single year. They come back and say just how much being at this event means to them. It's a really huge day for them, and these really are like their dreams. They're building these companies, and it's just so important to come out and really make that connection with those business owners and see their dreams come true.
Yeah, I mean, in South End, it's so hip happening anyway. And so really after Saturday's big event, it would be nice that people continue shopping local throughout the year and eating local, right?
Absolutely.
Brianna, anything else we need to let our friends and viewers know out there on Live Impact News?
Shop Small Saturday is actually kicking off the holiday season in South End, so you can visit southendclt.org, and we have a whole page just dedicated to all things holidays that you can do. You can find where the festive pop-up bars are, anywhere that's having seasonal food and drink, any shopping and events all across the district.
All right, we're going to break away from that as it's wrapping up anyway. Shop Small Saturday through South End, and that is tomorrow. Mark your calendars, enjoy the day. Because of the weekend, that's the better day to be outside. All right, let's switch gears. We're going to keep it in the Carolinas and talk about something that's really cool that's going to be happening because Opera Carolina is ringing in the new year. They're planning celebrations, of course, many operas, and Purpose, the company, just announcing the launch of a classical artist fund, a new philanthropic initiative aimed at supporting artists as well as creative professionals who make opera possible. Joining us today now in the Live Impact studio, Opera Carolina General Director, Dr. Shantae Williams. How are you, Dr. Shantae?
I am well in this holiday season. Thank you, Jane.
All right, doing great on this day after Thanksgiving. So glad you can make some time for us because this sounds like a really innovative way to include a lot of artists, not just the performers on stage, but the ones that also make this work, like yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was really important. I think a lot of people, when they think of opera, they think about vocalists. They think about the person standing in front of them singing. But anytime you're looking at a grand opera, you're looking at 250 different trades that make it all come to life. And we really wanted to make sure that we're highlighting each of those professionals.
Fantastic. Talk to us about the Classical Artist Fund. What inspired you to do this now?
Well, it started with a little story. I'll tell it very quickly.
We have all the time in the world, actually, so go ahead.
I was shopping, and I was, getting my groceries through the line, and the cashier was singing beautifully. I mean, I was just really amazed. And I said, "Are you a singer?" And her response was, "I'd like to be, but I have to pay the bills." And that really planted the seeds for me to be more of an arts philanthropist in my own personal donations and investments. But then when I think about what I do with Opera Carolina, a lot of the artists that we work with aren't able necessarily to have a full-time job just pursuing their craft. And that for me is a shame because that's a gift that should be cultivated.
Absolutely. Wow. What great initiative, for you to take it upon yourself and see that, someone with that talent working behind the cash register. So what, besides financial, what other challenges are there that artists face when they try to pursue some of their dreams?
Well, speaking specifically of classical artists, I mean, we've got lots of barriers to entry. One, a lot of them have been cultivating their talent since grade school. And then once you kind of get out of, the younger years, you have to get into your adult time, and then you're looking at finding the right coach. You're going for auditions around the world. You're trying to make life work in addition to everything else. And ultimately, as opera continues to evolve into kind of what we are today, we realize that there are fewer and fewer shows for them to actually do in the U.S., so they have to really cultivate this global mindset, whether that's language or studying. They really have to be much more of a global citizen, and that becomes difficult in times like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So this fund covers what?
Oh, everything an artist might need,
Okay.
from coaching, recognizing that a lot of Americans can't afford an emergency. So it'll cover things like, say your car had a flat tire. Auditions, we're talking about all those things that you need to hone your craft, whether it's purchasing music or, everything that you need. And this isn't just from the front vocalist standpoint. We're talking about those folks behind the stage. So if you need tools
Exactly.
to do your job, if you need extra training or extra certifications, this fund will help with that.
So it really funds the whole ecosystem
Yes.
for the opera.
Yes.
Why such a comprehensive approach?
Because opera doesn't happen without all of it. What we want everybody to really recognize is you're taking in a grand opera, but you are hearing the sounds, you are seeing the costumes, you're recognizing the set, and if we aren't acknowledging everybody that helps us bring this to life, then we aren't really recognizing what opera is, which for me is kind of, I don't want to offend anybody, but the ultimate art form. I mean, we've got singing, we've got dance, we've got fashion, we've got all of it wrapped in, and not to mention we have the privilege of working with the Charlotte Symphony, and we have them as well. So it's everything, and you don't get opera if you don't have all of those things presented.
It really takes a village to put something so grand like that on the stage. This fund is going to make its debut in the new year. Talk to us about the event and what can people look forward to.
Yeah, so for the past 20 years, Opera Carolina has been doing our Bella Notte Gala, and we have historically been raising money for our education department. We will continue to do that, but we decided to expand the initiative, and we are now 21 years old for Bella Notte. So I said, we're growing up this year. We're going to do it at New Year's Eve with a champagne toast. It's going to be the same wonderful gala with all of the entertainment, but this time we're partying with a purpose. For us, it's really thinking about how do we bring the community into our world, and then let them know that it's also their world. So Bella Notte is going to be a lot of fun at the Valentine Hotel, and we're going to ring in the new year with our purpose.
Oh, fantastic. So if people want to get involved, perhaps maybe donate to the Classical Artists Fund, what do they need to know?
What did they need to know?
Give it to us all.
Starting at the beginning, we are happy to take in any of those donations earmarked for education or the Classical Artists Fund at operacarolina.org. If you'd like to attend Bella Notte, that's also a way. Those proceeds, or a percentage of those proceeds from each ticket, actually goes into the fund, and so that'll be a way to support. So if you want to attend Bella Notte, you can grab your tickets also at Opera Carolina. Under special events, you'll find Bella Notte. And then ultimately, this isn't a one-time deal for us. This is an ongoing fund that we're inviting the community and corporations into. As long as there is an artist need, we will be there.
And looking ahead, your vision for this fund on performing and the community all together, go into, tell us a little bit about moving past this.
Moving past this, once the fund is launched, we'll work closely with our Opera Guild, who will help us to pull in those applications and those requests. I mean, I imagine we may get more requests than we have funding for, and as the saying is, we're going to need a bigger boat. And so we will always continue to recruit people into the fund. But after that, we are going to start just promoting and asking artists, what are your needs? What are the gaps we aren't looking at? We all know that health insurance is something that could be quite expensive, and as an artist, you need to stay healthy. So we know that this is going to be an ongoing need. We are tucking this under our OC Cares umbrella, which will include many more community-based things, making sure that we are a part of the community that we get to perform in every day.
What a great effort, great fun. Classical Artists Fund. Go to operacarolina.org for Bella Notte. And if you want to support Classical Artists Fund, many ways to do that. operacarolina.org. It's just kind of a nice little rhythmic thing. Falls off the tongue very easily. Dr. Shante Williams, General Director at Opera Carolina, we thank you for joining us here this afternoon on Live Impact News. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC+. Here at 103, you are watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. So we've been talking about Black Friday and shopping, and a lot of shoppers like to do it up and do it often during the holiday season. So CMPD is also warning shoppers about a lot of the scams out there that are going to try to get your information and how these fraudsters are getting a little bit more sophisticated. I talked to Sergeant Green earlier this week from CMPD. This is our previously recorded interview now here on WCNC Plus. We know scammers are getting smarter, from fake jobs to romance scams. These fraudsters are constantly finding new ways to target people right here in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. So we want to talk to Sergeant Seth Green from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department right now, the Financial Crimes Unit, to help us understand what's happening right now and what we can do to protect ourselves. Sergeant Green, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Impact News, first of all.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Talk to us about what you're seeing right now and what scams are hitting the community the most.
Well, I mean, there's scammers are hitting on basically every component of life these days. I think that what's really important for me at the CMPD, or important for us at the CMPD, is kind of start discussing about what we're seeing is a lot of law enforcement related scams, and that's very as important for us to make sure that we get some messages out there that that's not something that law enforcement supports. It's not anything that we're involved in. On behalf of the CMPD, we just want to make sure that everybody knows that the CMPD will never call you and ask you for money that is related to any type of criminal investigation, whether that's fees, any type of processing, or any type of anything involved in the investigation, any fines of that, associated with the criminal investigation. CMPD is never going to be the one to call you and ask you for any money over the phone. We can't necessarily speak for all law enforcement agencies nationwide. We don't know their practices, but by and large, I would feel comfortable saying that most law enforcement agencies aren't going to call and try to solicit money from you related to a criminal investigation over the phone.
Okay, so that's what that kind of scam looks like. They're calling you out of the blue and saying that you're being investigated?
Right. And it takes on different little nuances. I mean, sometimes it's a bail bond scam, or it's a jury duty scam, or it's a loved one has been arrested, or and you have to help them out in some kind of way. So it changes daily on what they present to you, but I really think it's important for our community to know that that's not something that the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department will ever do in any of those capacities.
Are there certain groups being targeted more than others when it comes to this kind of scam?
No. This is across.
It's just
the board.
random.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
It's
okay.
equal opportunity.
Oh, gosh. All right, so we hear all the time about phishing scams, but they're getting more sophisticated, aren't they?
I mean, I would say that they're getting a little bit more, creative in the way that they present these scams. But it really still boils down to the human condition and the ability to kind of identify some things that are red flags in all the emails.
Right.
And, so, yeah, creativity in the sense in their presentation, but it really kind of all boils down to trying to manipulate the user behind the computer or behind the phone or on the phone.
So what should we be looking out for then?
Yeah, I think all the context of what you're receiving always matters, right? I think that is the email that you're receiving, is it expected? Does it align with something that you're trying to accomplish? You can always make sure that the header aligns with who you're trying to, the header of the email aligns with who you're trying to contact, and just applying all similar principles to not only the phishing emails, but phishing is just another form of a scam that we want to help people be prepared for and help to prevent. So apply all the same principles to phishing scams.
I mean, it gets so overwhelming when you're getting a lot of emails, some from work, some from family, some from what you think might be law enforcement. What are maybe some of the biggest red flags? You say you talk about emotion or in context, and what that this might be, especially for our vulnerable communities like older folks. Like, what should they be saying to themselves? This might be a scam. What sets off that alarm?
Right. So, the scams, like I alluded to earlier, they're going to change daily, and the scammers are going to change. They're going to change the context, and they're going to change the narrative behind it. So what we like to do is provide people with with some very foundational preventative measures, and that this can apply to every single scam that I think anybody can encounter, whether it's on the phone or email or however it comes across to you. I could spend a lot of time talking to you about how what's the latest and greatest scam that we just heard this week or that's coming across.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help. If we can give the people, again, the foundational things to prevent all scams. And the first thing that we always ask people to do is just to slow down, right? I think scammers are always trying to prey upon people's impulsivity. I personally don't make great decisions when I'm hurried or rushed, so we're just going to ask people just to really kind of slow down, and just what we would prefer is that if this happens over the phone, that people just simply get off the phone and take a few minutes to think about what they have going on, or slow down when they're sorting through their emails. So anytime there's a component of time applied to when you're preparing to share personal information or financial information, people should approach that scenario as if it was a scam, and then to be convinced otherwise. So, the component of the time is just something people is a red flag that people
Yeah, no, that's huge. That's a good one.
Be concerned about. The second thing is that we just want people to think, right? I go back to what is the context? Does the context in all of these times matters, and what is it telling you? Like, is this email, is a telephone call expected? And I always go back to the old adage, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So these are all questions that you need to be thinking through in the time and the space that you've just given yourself, because you've taken the time, either you've gotten off the phone. So, and then number 3, so with the first one, again, we have, slow down. Second thing is we want to think through it. And then finally, we want to validate or authenticate or verify what you're, we try to tell everybody, be a detective on your own behalf and come in and say, let's look at the credentials of the people that are talking to you. Let's make sure that we can, verify the source that you're speaking to. Is their business legitimate? Are they legitimate vendors or salespeople? And then finally, under the caveat of validating or authenticating, we always like to say, we like to get people to get a trusted advisor, and it doesn't always necessarily have to be a fiduciary or your financial planner or anything, but it can be a friend, it can be a colleague, it can be somebody in your network that is going to give you objective feedback. A lot of times we see scams that they're protracted, and they go over days, weeks, sometimes even months. And if people would just had a frank conversation with somebody that they trust, somebody might identify some more red flags on that and provided the feedback to the victim that might have alleviated the whole scenario. So those are the things that we like to give everybody. Just slow down, think about it, and then validate any information that you get.
That's great advice. If it's too late, if you've already been caught, not caught, but if you realize you've been scammed or you gave your money away, your personal information after the fact, what do you do?
Well, I guess it depends on how it comes in, right? And if it's affiliated with a credit card or your financial institution, you certainly want to notify them as soon as possible. And they have their own standards and practices in the way that they handle any type of fraud investigation, and that varies from financial institution to financial institution. Secondly, we want you to notify law enforcement. It's something, information is powerful for us, and so there's not always a direct line between you're reporting to us and an arrest or something that's going to make you feel really that much better about what had just occurred, but we need that information. We need to put that together with all the other information that we're receiving, and that's going to help us use our tools that we have to help prevent that.
All right. Any other resources or information that you want our viewers to know about?
Not necessarily as it relates to scams.
Okay.
We always want people to be careful. I think something that we always like to remind people is to make sure that they're freezing their credit and they have their credit profile needs to be taken very seriously. So making sure that you get your credit frozen, and just always being careful online, and certainly when you're on the phone, getting ready to share personal information or financial information.
All right, good stuff. And I mean, this is an area of crime that seems to be really growing, out there, doesn't it?
It is. The Federal Trade Commission says that in 2024, Americans lost over $10 billion to scams, right? And that matters. That's a big number to me. But that's also just only the reported, losses out there. So we can only extrapolate that number might be larger.
All right. Good reminders this holiday season as we're in that holiday rush, too. So perfect timing, Sergeant. Thanks for joining us. It's a good reminder, Carlene, for us to slow down. All right? Do nothing hasty. All right, Sergeant Green from... We're going to slow down, take a break on Live Impact News on WCNC+. At 1:16 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, just want to get you updated on the SpaceX launch that is scheduled to happen this afternoon. They've pushed the coverage back to 1:30, so we're keeping an eye on that. When that happens, we'll bring it to you here on Live Impact News. In the meantime, if you're wondering what kind of winter weather is expected here in the Carolinas and missed our Brad Panovich's report on winter weather and his outlook report, we have at least a nice chunk of it for you here that he explains what kind of weather we can expect, what kind of winter weather we can expect here this season. This previously recorded on our weather show, which happens at 6:30 every Monday to Friday with Brad Panovich on Live Impact News.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here on WCNC Plus with your live weather impact. Tonight's a big night. The full topic of tonight's show is going to be our winter forecast. You know, I've been doing this for 21 years now. It started off as just kind of fun. Really they didn't even let me do this on TV back in the day. It was like a thing I did for fun because I love snow, I love skiing, I love the winter forecast. And so it's been something I've had a little passion for the last 2 decades plus. And so tonight we're going to do something a little different. We're going to reveal it on streaming only, so to make it kind of interesting. So here's a look at my winter weather impact. We're going to focus just on the forecast here in the first 8 minutes or so, but then Tim's going to join me. He's talking about the winter forecast for the Greensboro area, by the way. We're going to compare notes and talk about it, so if you have questions, shoot them to us, 704-329-3600. Anything I say or anything I don't say, I'd love to hear from you because I think that would be really cool to talk about what you guys think about this forecast as we get into it. So first things first, let's talk a little bit about when our average snow falls across our area. So in the Charlotte area, we broke this down by month just to give you a kind of perspective on when the snow falls. So you can see very little November, though we're going to talk about that little bit we got last Monday. December, not a lot. The 2 months we get the most snow, January, February, and that's going to be key to my forecast as well. But really February, and this says something because remember February only has 28 days and then 29 days during leap year. So it has the least amount of days of any of the winter or cool season months, but it has produced the biggest percentage of snow. So if you want to see snow in the Charlotte area, it's really February, and I'll be honest with you, that first week of March. Statistically, the snowiest single calendar day in Charlotte, that meaning the most snow that has fallen on a single calendar day over our entire history, is actually March 2nd. There's been so many big storms in that last week of February into early March. A lot of that has to do with the pattern that we have in the southeast. It's when the cold air is still lingering, but we start to get that active storm track. So that's the time of year we typically see snow. But I will mention November because last week we had our first trace of snow, but on average, our first measurable snow in the Charlotte area, on average, it can happen earlier, we can get it in December, is January 9th. So if it doesn't snow at all in December, don't think we're never going to see snow because that's not normally when we see it. It is January. So the mean date, if you will, where we get measurable snow is usually right around January 9th. So we got to talk about this upcoming season. What is going to happen with El Nino, La Nina? We call that ENSO for short. It's the combination of either one. El Nino Southern Oscillation is what that ENSO stands for. Last year we had a pretty strong El Nino. This year, the forecast and where we currently are is in a weak La Nina. So that's the basis of our forecast this year, looking at what happens during a weak La Nina. You may ask, Brad, what does happen when we have a La Nina pattern during the winter? Well, cooler than average water over the equatorial Pacific does produce warmer than normal conditions across the southeast and drier. But notice where that jet stream is. This is key. The jet stream is typically here across the Ohio Valley. We tend to be on the warm side, but because that active jet stream is so close to us, we can occasionally get a storm to sneak down here. So you should never write off a La Nina winter, especially a weak La Nina winter. Now, when we're talking about snowfall averages in these different regimes, in the Charlotte area, our all-time average, which goes back 147 years if we count this year now, is 5.4. But the last 30 years, the 30-year average has dropped to 3.5. And in the last 10 years, that average is even more meager at 2 inches. So if you think it hasn't snowed a lot lately, you would be correct. Remember, we had our first 2 snowless years in a row before last year. We finally saw, I think it was 1.2 inches. Now, in El Nino years, 5.6 is the average. In La Nina years, though, 4.1. And what is La Nada? That's the neutral phase. Actually, what's interesting is our weather in the winter, when we have a weak El Nino or a weak La Nina or even a neutral kind of in the middle, that tends to be our best snow years. It's not when we have really strong El Ninos or La Ninas. It's really when we're more in the middle of those two. And so when we look at some of the other things that I look at from a checklist standpoint, where are we with that ENSO? Well, right now with the weak La Nina, that usually means warm and dry. Above average snowfall in Siberia this year, there was slightly above. We looked at that in October. That usually means cold and dry. Arctic sea ice, unfortunately, still near record lows. That typically means warm and dry. And because of climate change and warm sea surface temperatures over most of the equatorial areas of the Atlantic, the Gulf, and the East Coast, that tends to be warm and dry. So typically a lot of the checklist, like indicators, would mean warm and dry. So overall, I would think warm and dry, but most people just care about the snow. Snowfall over La Ninas recently, obviously 22, 23, we had 0, but look at 21, 22, 4.3, and I want you to focus on 2010, 11. That was a very decent La Nina year. We had cold and snowy weather. That was one of the coldest winters I remember here in Charlotte, and that's always a wild card. So not all La Ninas are created the same. Remember our forecasting rules. Where do we look? I put the little check there because 3 to 5 days out is when you start to see the actual snow chances. So just remember that when we start getting into some of these forecasts. So let's get to the forecast. Cut to the chase, Brad, right? What am I forecasting temperature-wise? I think we will be above average, but not by a lot. I think it'll be just slightly above, so not a blowtorch. Certainly no big blowtorch this year. I think we'll actually see temperatures maybe close to average or a little bit above, maybe a half a degree to a degree, so not crazy. Rainfall-wise, this includes all precipitation, not just snow. It's going to be dry. I think the drought's going to continue. I just don't see a very wet pattern developing this winter. But what about snow? We can still have a dry winter and have snow. Remember, snow is 90% air, so you don't need a ton of moisture. You just have to have moisture and cold air time up. So snowfall, I actually think most of the Western Carolinas could be slightly above, and then many areas of the Piedmont near average. So I do think we're going to get snow this year. And as I do every year, I started doing this a couple years ago, let's look at the bold forecast. I like to forecast some ranges for some of the major cities across our area. Boone, Hickory, Charlotte. Boone's average snowfall is 25.6. I'm going to go 28 to 35. Hickory's average snowfall is 6.9 inches. I'm going to go 6 to 8 this year. And for Charlotte, our average snowfall is 3.5 inches, as I mentioned, over the 30-year average. I'm going to go slightly above, but if we get near average, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm going to go 3 to 6 inches, which would be the most snow we have seen in quite a while. Because I think this pattern is actually going to be pretty topsy-turvy, I think the chance of timing out 1 to 3 winter storms at some point late in the season, and I'm particularly talking January, February, is more than likely. So I do think we're going to see snow this year, but it will be mild. Coming up, Tim Buckley and I are going to kind of compare notes and talk about the winter forecast. Send your questions in, though.
Brad's always good about answering your questions, so you can always still send them into a social media, and sometimes he answers them on air. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 1:27 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. The holiday season, great time, of course, for a celebration, but all of that festive food and drink, it can certainly take a toll on your heart. Joining us right now from Novant is Dr. James Roberts. He's a cardiologist with Novant Health to talk about this condition called holiday heart and how you can protect your heart health while still enjoying the season. Doctor, thanks for joining us this afternoon. He was able to hear us, and now he can't. Did we just lose a little bit of his signal?
Here, I'll play with it. Let's go.
All right, let's go ahead. All right, so we will circle back with the doctor, but you can see there that he is standing by. Right now, we want to go ahead and start playing and play this interview for you now that our Jesse Pierre was handling on Medic and with Medic and how busy they are during the holidays as well.
Hungry now.
If you could, for the record.
Sure. Lester Oliva. We're gonna go with paramedic crew chief, or we can go with paramedic, whatever one you want.
Perfect. 4.
Oliva, Lester, Mecklenburg EMS.
All right. So, just kind of talk. Obviously, emergencies don't take breaks on the holidays. You guys, how do you guys staff during this time? And then, what do you kind of expect on a Thanksgiving Day?
The holidays are a very challenging time for us. We want to both give time off for our employees, but also be prepared for our emergencies that happen, no matter the time of year. So during this time, we try to have employees who have families, who can shift swaps with other employees who might not have a Thanksgiving today, they can switch it out another day. We try to make that reasonable for everybody.
And so what kind of calls do you guys normally or typically get? I know you said 470s in the last 2 years. So what kind of calls do you get? Is there more of a certain type at all, or?
Well, heart attacks, cardiac arrests, and strokes don't take a break for the holidays. So we continue to get those calls. We get other calls that we don't usually see more of, like choking calls. We might have allergic reactions. So it's really important during these holidays when you have your family in town and your friends that you have conversations to know if somebody's allergic to something, what's in a certain dish, because grandma's mysterious meatloaf might have something that might be allergic to you.
For sure. And when it comes to just staffing, how do you staff? Is it reduced to some level, or is that 470, is that like a regular day?
So it's let me rephrase it. So when it comes to holidays like Thanksgiving, we do holiday raffles for people to take days off. We also limit the amount of people that can take the day off because calls are still happening. But we do see some calls are reduced. For example, with less traffic on Thanksgiving Day, we don't have as many traffic accidents. We have less people out and about working, so we have less incidents in Uptown. However, things are still happening, so I still have to be ready for the unexpected.
And so how do you, for those who do come to work, how do you keep some holiday cheer, whether it's decorations, food, how do you keep folks, warm and comfort here?
The challenges in working in emergency medical services is that we cover the whole county. So we don't have a firehouse home or a police district where everybody's together at one time. So when our employees come into work, we try to start their day with some holiday cheer, with some to-go meals from Amelie's French Bakery that we provide. Also, we have the kindest employees here. Some of them come on their day off and bring goodies and treats, and we have...
Time right now is 1:31. We had our little technical situation that we worked out. We're just going to keep on this health frequency, though, because we're talking about holiday heart, and it is a condition, unfortunately, that happens around the holiday season with all of that celebrating, definitely taking a toll on your heart, right? So festival food and drink, it happens from now until the end of the year, I'm sure. Dr. James Roberts, a cardiologist with Novant Health, joining us now. Doctor, thanks for joining us here on Live Impact News. Explain what holiday heart is and that we hear about this around the holidays more and more.
Well, Ms. Bragg, holiday heart is a syndrome in which patients who are partaking in the usual holiday festivities may suddenly develop a rapid heart rate or tachycardia. And very frequently, they'll notice the symptoms of palpitations and rapid heart rate. And it's pretty easy to diagnose at that time, but oftentimes patients don't have those symptoms. Sometimes they just feel a little fatigued, a little dizzy, a little bit under the weather, not quite sure why they're so out of sorts. And when they finally do have themselves checked out and get an electrocardiogram, we find that their heart is out of rhythm. They have an abnormal heart rhythm called atrial fibrillation. And that's a direct result of maybe imbibing just a little bit too much during the holidays, or perhaps partaking in some of the other things, like a little bit too much salt in the salty dishes that we may have, and maybe a little bit too much caffeine.
Yeah, so the main triggers then to irregular heart rhythms during this time of the year it's the sodium. You mentioned the alcohol. How much is too much?
Well, so in general, we think that alcohol is reasonably safe if you have a drink, be that one glass of wine or one beer or one mixed drink, no more than per day. Now, what happens around the holidays is we drink a little bit more than that sometimes, and maybe we'll have more than 2 or 3, which might still be a little safe, but it's really the binge drinking that gets people into trouble. And so probably anything more than 2 drinks is a setup for developing holiday heart syndrome.
Salt intake tends to go up around the holidays as well. I know my gravy last night was a little too salty. What should people watch out for with the holiday meals?
So the holiday meals, although very delicious, are fraught with complications for many of our patients, right? Because the salt load does increase the blood pressure, and oftentimes our patients who already have heart diseases such as congestive heart failure may not be able to handle that salt load because the salt makes them hold on to extra water, and then they become volume overloaded. In fact, probably the most common day for hospitalization for congestive heart failure is the day after Thanksgiving. We sort of jokingly say we expect a busy day in the emergency room on Black Friday. So we don't want people taking more than 2 grams of sodium a day, and certainly on a day like that, you may get 2 grams in part of the meal.
So what are the warning signs people should be aware of then when they are to know that they're experiencing holiday heart?
Yeah. So the first and most obvious warning sign is just palpitations, feeling a rapid heartbeat or a heartbeat with skipping, or sometimes just an irregular heart rhythm that seems to not be beating in a regular fashion. So that's the easy way to tell, and the most common reason we might see a patient. Otherwise, they may just, as I said, feel just a little bit out of sorts, a little dizzy, a little weak, maybe sometimes a little short of breath, and certainly if they're developing swelling in the feet or ankles, that might be another sign.
Let's talk about heartburn, another common holiday complaint. What's the connection between heartburn and holiday heart?
Yeah. Well, the connection is such that sometimes it's difficult to tell the difference, right? Most of the time, heartburn is being caused by too much gas being released in the stomach, or too much acid, and you get a burning sensation in the chest. And holiday heart, many of our patients will, while having these palpitations, if the heartbeat's going too fast, they may develop chest pain. And oftentimes they may see that chest pain as, oh, just another episode of heartburn, when in fact they may be having angina because the heart rate is too fast.
How about some practical tips then when it comes to enjoying the holidays and not triggering things like heartburn or irregular heart palpitations?
Sure. Probably the best advice is to use a little common sense about what we eat and how much we eat. So we all want to enjoy the turkey and the ham and the mashed potatoes and so on and so forth. But since we know that a lot of that food is probably already cooked with salt, we probably shouldn't be adding salt at the table if we know the food was cooked with salt. So that's the first thing. The second thing is being careful about portion sizes. Although everybody wants a nice big plate of a healthy meal, I think it's very important to control the portion sizes and make sure that we're not overeating. Thirdly, we want to be very careful about the alcohol intake as well as the caffeine intake, since those are things that trigger directly the rapid heart rates and the irregular heart rates.
Yeah, go ahead, doctor.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I generally, as a preventive cardiologist, I generally tell my patients 3 simple rules of eating. Number 1, you probably need to eat more plants. Number 2, eat less processed foods. And number 3, eat less. And those rules probably hold true for holiday times as well.
What fun is that, though, right? It's a good reminder about the importance of hydration, too, isn't it, Doctor?
Yes. So certainly hydration is very important, particularly when you're taking on an increased salt load. Alcohol, although a liquid, tends to dehydrate you because it acts as a diuretic. So you do need to take on more water, and certainly being well hydrated during the holiday season is a very wise thing.
Is there anything people with already existing heart conditions should be aware of when it comes to all of the festive gatherings and holiday eating?
Absolutely. So I think that the biggest thing that people already have heart disease need to be aware of is the fact that the foods that we eat around the holiday time are going to be very rich in salt or sodium and be very rich in sugar. And those are two things that are not going to bode well for people who have hypertension and diabetes. And those conditions certainly can worsen or accelerate the onset of angina and chest pain and arrhythmias and all the things we're talking about.
It drives me crazy when I see people at the restaurant. They haven't even touched their food and they're already putting salt on it out of habit.
Absolutely.
Taste it first. All right. Anything else for our viewers to know to balance enjoyment with heart health?
Sure. Well, a wonderful thing that my wife and I did yesterday before we partook in our holiday meal, we went out for a nice walk. And so getting in the exercise and burning off some of the calories both before and after you eat is always a good thing.
I love it. I hit the gym too yesterday morning. So got to move it before you eat it.
Absolutely.
Dr. James Roberts, thank you so much for giving us some of your insight and advice on keeping a healthy heart, not only during the holidays, but really year round. We want to see you around for as long as you can. Mm-hmm. Doctor, appreciate you.
Enjoy your holidays. Just be safe.
Happy holidays to you.
Thank you. Thanks.
And we'll be right back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 1:42 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. SpaceX launch, getting ready to launch. We're going to take you out live right now to Vandenberg Space Force Base. There is the prep work, of course, you can see it on the launch pad, but they are going to launch dozens of small satellites into orbit here around, well, right around now. Let's check in and dip into this live feed on Live Impact News.
And we just heard that the call out for the gas closeout has started, and that refers to the venting and closing out of the gaseous systems, such as the topping off of the tanks and sealing vents to maintain pressure inside of the tanks. So we're now standing by for confirmation that Falcon 9 is in startup, which will be coming up within the next 10 seconds at the T-minus 1 minute mark.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Now at this point, the autonomous flight computers have taken over the launch countdown, and stages 1 and 2 are pressurizing for launch.
LD is go for launch.
And with that note from the launch director, all systems are go for launch of Transporter 15.
Say 30 seconds. Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, engines full power, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Transporter 15.
Vehicles pitching downrange. MOD chamber pressures are nominal.
At T plus 31 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. We're currently throttling down to prepare for max Q, the point of maximum aerodynamic stress on the vehicle.
Nominal.
Max Q is reached when the air density of the atmosphere decreases faster than the increasing speed of the rocket.
Mach 1. Max Q.
And there's the call out for Max Q. Merlin engines are back at full power, and we're out of the throttle bucket. From here on, even though velocity is rapidly increasing, the atmospheric density is decreasing, resulting in less loads on Falcon 9. So coming up next, we'll have several events happening in quick succession, starting with MECO, followed by stage separation, and second engine start, or SES-1. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is where all 9 Merlin 1D engines shut down to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, where the first stage separates from the second stage. Then the MVAC engine on the second stage will light, which is called out as second engine start 1, or SES-1. This engine burn, lasting several minutes, will propel the second stage and our payloads to orbit. After that, the fairing will jettison from the second stage, as it's no longer needed to protect the payloads once we're in space.
Nominal trajectory.
You're watching live there at 1:47, the launch of dozens of satellites into space, a successful launch by all accounts there out of the Santa Barbara area in California. Always cool to see when you leave Earth and you see those rocket out behind you, rocket boosters. All right, well, at 1:47, it has become one of Charlotte's biggest days of giving. It is Giving Tuesday Charlotte. It's coming up on its 12th year this Tuesday, December 2nd. It's going to take place at the Pearl Innovation District. Joining us right now is Susan Arrington, Susan, with Share Charlotte. Thanks for coming in here the day after Thanksgiving. How are you?
Good to be here.
Nice to have you. For those of our viewers who may not be familiar, tell us where Giving Giving Tuesday Charlotte came from, how it started here in Charlotte.
Yeah, well, Giving Tuesday CLT, Giving Tuesday Charlotte is, part of the global day of giving that originated with Giving Tuesday in New York. And Charlotte is one of the OG communities for having their own Giving Tuesday celebration. So yeah, we're in our 12th year, as you said. Over those last 11 years, it's resulted in $52.1 million in impact for Charlotte nonprofits. So that's items given, that's dollars given, and that's volunteer time given. Really a good day of impact for us.
Incredible number, 52 million. What kind of impact has that made for our community?
Well, I mean, it's just, our nonprofits show up for our community every single day. We all know, especially over the last couple of weeks, how they've been really showing up with, SNAP benefits, the pause of that, everything going on with immigration. Our nonprofits are just always rising to the occasion. And this money fuels all the things that they're able to do for us. Plus things that go on throughout the year in terms of educating our children, keeping our healthy communities, on, and this just powers them on.
This year you're hosting a headquarters event at the Pearl. What can folks expect this go around?
Yeah, it's just a day to be a part of the movement that's, around people that are, inspired and celebrating generosity. So we'll have some on-site volunteer opportunities for folks. You can stuff postpartum kits with one of our nonprofits. You can fill welcome baskets, write notes of encouragements for another nonprofit for families that are moving into their first homes. It's also we'll have lots of media interviews throughout the day, so you'll be getting to see and hear the stories of our nonprofits, the money that they're trying to raise, and the impact they're trying to make.
Are there specific nonprofits or causes that people can support through Giving Tuesday Charlotte, and how does that work?
Well, actually on our site, so our site is sharecharlotte.org, we have more than 800 nonprofits that serve Mecklenburg County neighbors, and you can support all of them. Some of them are just, small nonprofits that have, a founder and maybe one staff member, to all of the larger nonprofits in the city that we know about, like United Way. They all have goals. They're all trying to make their financial goals towards the end of the year or fund specific programs that they have coming up. So, this is just a place, whether you're passionate about animals or working with the elderly, or you care about literacy in children. On our site, we make it really easy for you to find those causes and find ways to support them.
We know a lot of people in our community want to give back, especially around the holidays. What is Giving Tuesday Charlotte, what makes it so different from other opportunities?
Well, this is just a day, it's sort of just a rallying point. So Charlotte is, really a generous city. We see that when even our neighbors in Hurricane Helene, the way that Charlotte responded. But this is just a day that really gets counted in terms of evaluating giving in our city. So this December 2nd, this Tuesday, really is just a way for all of us to be part of one thing together and kind of make a stand for Charlotte and our nonprofits.
Do they need to come to the Pearl, or they can do it from home?
No, you can give from anywhere you'd like to. One really cool thing through our partners at Lowe's Home Improvement, if you give more than $50 to your favorite nonprofit on our site, the first 300 of those dollars, 300 gifts of $50 or more will be matched with a $50 gift card back to those nonprofits, so they can provide tools or other essential items they need. It's sort of a match program through Lowe's. So yeah, you can make all of your donations right there at sharecharlotte.org.
Awesome. You said about 800 local nonprofits, and the biggest needs. Like you mentioned, so many things that Charlotte and really the country's been facing here this year. But what are some of the specific needs that you feel like Charlotteans are facing this year?
Right now, of course, our nonprofits that are feeding our community members, they've already had to go over and above. And so what they've been counting on, to have, they've already used a lot of that surplus. And so the need for food in our community is going to continue, especially when some people still don't feel safe to go out and get food. We have nonprofits that are delivering food in our community. We also know it's been widely discussed that Charlotte, has some mobilization issues, and so there's lots of nonprofits dedicated to helping to break down those barriers and give our children more access so they can mobilize and grow in our community and stay in our community. We're also doing a lot with workforce development in Charlotte to try and keep our great talent here, and so if you find causes, if you love Charlotte, you can love local and give local and really support, and all of your giving stays here in your backyard.
And that's why giving locally matters. right? All right. Any other thoughts for our viewers today, Susan?
No, we just want to thank you. We just, there's so many ways that you can give. You can give items, you can give dollars, but everyone in Charlotte does have something to give. Even if it's just an hour of your time, that does matter to a nonprofit. So don't underestimate the power of what you can do.
Well said. Giving Tuesday Charlotte is this Tuesday, December 2nd at the Pearl. And for more information, people can go to, one more time?
ShareCharlotte.org.
All right. Susan from Share Charlotte, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. And we will be right back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 1:55 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Well, SpaceX launched a dozen or so small satellites into space. Let's continue to listen into their coverage right now here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Well, it appears that some of their coverage is now into some disco techno music. Jeb. Oh. So they wrapped up all of the coverage, it seems, just showing us a graphic. So I'm going to go back to Jesse Pierre's interview, her raw interview with Medic. This happened yesterday, but it applies because Medic is busy during the holiday season.
Working in the holidays? Working in the holidays? You can do the turkey twist. All right, well, let me concentrate on my thankful message.
Okay, yes, what are you thankful for?
As a paramedic, the holidays makes me realize how thankful I am for my health.
Yeah.
We take care of people who aren't healthy. We take care of families who are dealing with family members who aren't healthy. And so being healthy, having a healthy family is something that I'm always thankful.
Perfect. And then, I'm trying to think. I think that's pretty much it. You think I'm missing something?
No, I mean, what do you think it means to... All right.
I did a little pirouette.
During the holidays, emergencies can happen. During Thanksgiving, emergencies can happen. We want to make sure that people call 911, listen to our dispatcher instructions, because the help that you can get over the phone is when care begins. They'll tell you step by step how to do CPR, how to help a choking victim, and hopefully this Thanksgiving, the only heated conversation you have is about how delicious the turkey is and not a medical emergency. So,
yeah. No, I was going to say, do you think we have
obviously your job's all very important. What is it, the importance of your job even on the holidays?
So when you come to work at Medic, you know you're going to work nights, you know you're going to work holidays. So it's a sacrifice for us and for our employees' families to have them working these days. But we know that somebody might need us, and so we're happy to be there. Yeah.
I was trying to think if there was anything, because I know you did the 911 configuration thing. I was trying to think if there's anything more. Is there like any updates as far as, technology, anything? I'm just a little tidbit of anything.
So, technology-wise, I'm thinking.
You just got 10 new trucks. You said that's.
Yeah, we have 1 out of 10 in service, right? We got that approved.
Okay, no, we're good. Let's did you need to get video in here?
Yeah, I'll get a few shots.
Okay, so we're good with the interview.
Okay, perfect.
We'll get a couple of shots in here. We'll go into the call center.
Yeah.
I'll do my part on camera.
Yeah.
And then we'll do.
I got it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know where he put it.
Oh, that's in my backpack.
What are you thankful for? And I'm pointing to his son. He goes, nah, he takes all the money.
Do you only use one?
I have 1 biological, and then I have my niece, who's like my daughter. She's actually an EMT that works here as well.
Oh, really? Nice.
All right, that was our Jesse Pierre talking to one of the folks there with Medic, talking about how busy it is. Also a busy time in the Charlotte area because people are traveling, folks are visiting Charlotte, so many reasons to visit the Charlotte region. And our Jesse Pierre is handling that coverage and that story angle for us today. She is actually joining us live now from Uptown. Hi, Jesse. How you doing? Looks like it's busy behind you.
Hey, yes, it is. Hi, Jane. Some folks don't realize how much visitors really help to boost Charlotte's local economy. And like you mentioned, it's the holiday season, so you have a lot of friends and families coming in town. And yes, I am standing right outside of Truist Field where Light the Nights is opening the doors at 2 o'clock, and you can see the long line right over there. And it's not only locals who are enjoying that. You have folks who are visiting, coming in town. I spoke to some folks from Indiana, from Ohio, from Florida. I spoke to somebody from where else? I don't know, a lot of different places, Michigan, a lot of different places of folks coming here to visit. And the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority says 54% of all visitors are here to visit friends and family. And when they are here, they're supporting our local businesses. They're staying at local hotels. They're visiting our local businesses. And the CRVA found that every $100 spent, $12.50 came directly from visitors. So again, that really helps to fuel the local economy. And then when you have events like the Nights, and there are so many great things that happen during the holiday season, which is my favorite time of the year, and I will be here coming to check out the Christmas lights. But those are just a lot of great other opportunities and festivities that folks can get and enjoy, come and enjoy. Check out the Queen City, which is really becoming this really destination spot, right, when we think about it. But it's just, again, another way during the holiday season to bring more visitors here. This is a very important thing for the local economy. Jane?
Jesse, very good. Your favorite holiday, you said, and why is that?
I just feel like the Christmas lights just really gives me all the feels. It makes me happy. And I'm one of those, like, November 1st, the Christmas tree goes up. As soon as Halloween is done, we are putting the Christmas decorations up, and mine is up. All my decorations are up. I love it. It makes me excited. I can't wait to go to midnight mass for a Christmas Eve, and it just is the best time to be with your family and friends and so forth.
Oh, love all the reasons. A November 1st Christmas tree. Okay, all right, you'll be one of those. I was maybe 2 weeks behind you. As far as, because we're getting visitors here and people spending money, and sometimes people are saying that it's been a tough year with the shutdown, SNAP benefits. Do you get a sense of people facing financial hardships, and people talking about, are they going to spend more, spend less on gifts? Any of that conversation happening?
Not Not really. It was more, I think that people find different ways to make it work. I spoke to some folks who drove from Massachusetts, right? And it was an entire family you're looking at. They had a couple of kids too. So if you thought of like flying in, it probably would have been a really big ticket, So by driving, getting snacks and things like that, it just kind of makes it a little bit more affordable to still do your family trip, And then, if you go to Light the Nights, for example, the admission is about $14. However, that allows you to come in, check out all the Christmas lights, and you can buy a couple things from the vendors. If you want to participate in the activities, you can spend the big bucks, $40 for the tubing and the ice skating, but you don't have to do that, right? So at the lower price, you can come in and enjoy all the festivities. But just kind of walking around town, you can still find a lot of great ways to enjoy Charlotte without spending too much money. And then when you do check out those little, local shops, you can go get your little coffee or pastries and things like that and still enjoy the park, the lights, and everything Charlotte has to offer.
Jessie Pierre, our perfect ambassador to visiting Charlotte.
There's always a way to do it on the budget.
Yes, so true, so true. Love it. Champagne tastes on a beer budget. It can be done. Get all the feels out there. All right, Jessie.
Exactly.
Thank you. Enjoy Night the Lights. Have a great time tonight. We'll see you later. Good stuff. That's our Jessie Pierre. She's going to be joining us on WCNC Charlotte later on at 5 on the TV, which also streams here on WCNC Plus. Let's take a break, shall we? You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Here at 2:06 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Yesterday, of course, being Thanksgiving, the president had a call with U.S. troops. It ran last night, so a lot of you probably did not catch it in its entirety. That's when he also released more information about one of the National Guardsmen who actually was confirmed killed. So he released the identity, announced that National Guardsman, a woman, killed Wednesday when 2 National Guardsmen were shot at by the White House. We're going to play this for you now. Hear this again from last night, the president's call to U.S. troops, now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
I assume we're on and everybody sees us. I see you, a lot of great looking faces. Am I correct? Everybody's on, right? If you are, wave. If you're not, just you can leave and go have turkey. Good, I think everyone's waving. Thank you very much. And I'm honored to speak with so many incredible members of the U.S. military and to wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Before we begin, I want to express the anguish and the horror of our entire nation at the terrorist attack yesterday in our nation's capital. in which a savage monster gunned down 2 service members in the West Virginia National Guard who were deployed as part of the DC Task Force, which has done such an incredible job. I mean, until yesterday, we literally had no incidents for many months. It was the safest place imaginable, and this is a different kind of crime. This is a really bad crime. Millions of Americans are praying for those heroes and their families, and I must unfortunately tell you that just seconds before I went on, right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young, magnificent person, started service in June of 2023, outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her. It's just happened. She was savagely attacked. She's dead. She's not with us. Terrible person. Outstanding in every single way, in every department. Just horrible. As you know, the other young man is fighting for his life. He's in very bad shape. He's fighting for his life, and hopefully we'll get better news with respect to him. And the monster that did this is also in serious condition. But we won't even talk about him. As you may know, DHS has confirmed that the suspect is an Afghan national, flown here by the previous administration, who was such a bad administration. And I have a picture of a plane. This is what it looked like when they came in. It was total bedlam. Do you remember that period of time? Total bedlam. People crammed onto the plane. And the toughest, meanest, most capable physically got on the plane. Not the people that we were looking for or that they wanted to bring in. Here's a picture for you. Just take a look at that plane. Standing on top of each other, sitting on top of each other. This is what we had under the Biden administration. That whole thing should have never, ever happened. They should have left from a different base. They should have left from Bagram, as you know, and it would have been a much different story. But they didn't do that, and this was just a rout, just a terrible situation. This heinous atrocity reminds us that we have no greater national security priority than ensuring that we have full control over the people that enter and remain in our country. For the most part, we don't want them. They come in illegally. They have a lot of problems. Their countries force them in because their countries are smart. They don't want them. Let's give them to the Americans to take care of. They come out of jails in many cases, mental institutions, they're gang members, they're drug dealers. We don't want them. Many of the service members on this call today are engaged in crucial aspects of that mission. And to each and every one of you, I just want to thank you so much. Incredible people. You make this sacrifice like few others understand. A lot of them don't even understand it. And you're keeping America safe and free. Our military is strong. In my first term, I rebuilt our military, all aspects of our military. And in Afghanistan, we actually gave up a big chunk, but relatively, as much as it seemed like it's small compared to what we bought and to what we have and to what we're buying. We're spending over $1 trillion this year on our military. We have a military, the best in the world. We make the best equipment in the world. And we have the best people in the world. So joining us this evening are 6 units deployed across our hemisphere, representing every branch of the United States Armed Forces. First, I want to thank the members of Army's legendary 101st Airborne Division. Now, I've heard about that since I was a little boy. The Screaming Eagles, calling in from Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and you're led by Major General David Gardner, a real tough cookie and great general. I appreciate it, General Gardner. The 101st has done an outstanding job leading the task force, joint task force at our southern border. And we have nobody coming in. They're not coming in. Under Biden, they were coming in by the millions. Now we have nobody coming in. We have a strong border. Nobody talks about it anymore. I'm not giving credit for anything, just like you guys are not giving credit for anything. We do the greatest job, but that's all right. They don't talk about the border anymore because you know why? Nobody comes in. We had 9 months now where we had nobody coming in, zero. And this is being fed. This is the people that do this they tend to be on the left. They'd love to say millions of people came in through Trump, and they actually said nobody came. Even I find that hard to believe, but they literally are saying nobody came in. And I hope people appreciate the job that you've done and the job that we've all done. But we're stopping the invasion of our country. We stopped it cold. And if you remember, Biden said, I need new legislation. You didn't need legislation. I didn't get legislation. What you needed was a new president. So with your help, we now have the most secure border in American history. It's the single most secure border in American history. So I just want to thank you. And the 101st, I want to thank you very much. The job you've done is amazing, working with all of our great people. We also have the men and women of the U.S. Navy serving as part of the Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group under Captain Christopher Farraker. And they're on board the USS Iwo Jima in the Caribbean Sea, working right by their side are members of the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit led by Colonel Tom Trimble. Thank you very much. I think you wave to me because I can see you then. Let's see. There you are, handsome people. They're beautiful looking people. Thank you. Like I could put you in a movie right this second, and the three of you, and I think we'd have a top grossing movie. You don't have people like you in Hollywood. Part of the 22nd MEU is also serving in Puerto Rico, the 3rd Battalion, 6 Marines, Devil Dogs, led by Major Ross Gilchrist. Where is Major? Hello, Major. Another central. Is everybody central casting? It's like they're all handsome, tough guys. I don't know what's going on here. But the Navy Marine Corps team is currently helping to defend our country, protect our interests, and literally decimate terrorists. The job you've done is incredible. I also want to thank you for your amazing work to quickly deliver life-saving aid to Jamaica in the aftermath of the recent hurricane, which was devastating. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Major and everybody. Appreciate it. Next up are the airmen serving with one of the most feared bomber forces in the world, the U.S. Air Force's 7th Bomb Wing at Dyess Air Force Base in Texas under the auspices and leadership of Colonel Seth Spanier. Colonel, where are you, Colonel? Colonel, let's see, you're right there. Thank you, Colonel. All of you are backbone of America, and you really are the backbone of America's air power. And in recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many. Of course, there aren't too many coming in by sea anymore, if you probably noticed that. From sending their poisons into the United States, where they kill hundreds of thousands of people a year. But we're going to take care of that situation. We're already doing a lot. We've almost stopped. It's about 85% stopped by sea. You probably noticed that. People aren't wanting to be delivering by sea. And we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier. But that's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending poison to our country. We also have the 18th Space Defense Squadron at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, headed by Captain Ryan Weber. Captain, where are you, Captain? Thank you very much, Captain. Great job. Every day you maintain American dominance on the high frontier. You're the guardians of one of the most important domains we have to protect.
And we will continue to plug through this speech, this call between the president and U.S. troops from late last night on Thanksgiving Day. First, a break on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll be right back. Back now at 2:18 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We continue to play last night's call between the president and U.S. troops on Thanksgiving Day here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Very, very proud of the job you do, Captain. Thank you. Finally, we have the great men of the Coast Guard, and I have to tell you, there are a lot of women in the Coast Guard now, too, and we're happy about that. United States Coast Guard aboard the Coast Guard cutter Forrest Rednar with Lieutenant Commander Alexis Wild. Alexis, where are you? Hi, Alexis. Alexis Wild at the helm. And I'm told that just last month, the Forrest Rednar intercepted a boat with lots and lots of illegal aliens off the coast of California. It was loaded, and then turned them over to the Customs and Border Patrol, and they did it so professionally. The people were very, very impressed with the job you did, Commander, so thank you very much. It was a great job. And thank you for defending our maritime borders with skill and with pride, and the job you do. Amazing. So I want to thank all of you again for your amazing service to our country. God bless our warriors. God bless our heroes from West Virginia National Guard. What a group. I love West Virginia. And I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. We have a country that we can be very proud of. I was with the King of Saudi Arabia, and he said, you know, sir, last year you had a country that was a dead country. We thought it was dead. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and it's true. And we're going to be having close to $20 trillion invested. That's record-setting by 10 times. Nobody's ever had anything like it. We're building plants. We're building factories, auto factories, AI plants, the whole thing with artificial intelligence. I don't know the word. I've never liked the word artificial. I don't know what artificials are. I think they ought to change the name. I've always said it's a lousy name to have, artificial anything, but it's a big business. And we're building more. We're leading China by a lot. We're leading everybody by a lot. We make the best military equipment in the world, and they're ordering it at numbers that nobody's ever seen before. But we're doing better than we've ever done before. We have the stock markets just hit for the 48th time an all-time high during the 9 months that I've been here, a little more than 9 months now. And so we have the hottest stock market ever. That's a big thing for 401ks and all of the millions of people with jobs and 401ks. Everybody participates in that. But it's 48 times in a little bit less than 10 months. 48 times we hit an all-time high. And I think we're going to continue, because when these factories that we're building from all over the world, they're coming because of tariffs. I think because of November 5th, the election result, but because of tariffs. And we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars like we've never done before. And some of that's going to go back in the form of a sort of dividend to our people, but much of it's going to go toward reducing debt. And what it really goes for, and even better than the money we're taking in, is the fact that nobody's attacking our companies and taking them out, stealing them like they've been for many years. Because if they do that, they have to pay a tariff as they make products and sell them into our country. So we made deals with Japan, we made deals with South Korea, we made deals with the European Union, where they pay us hundreds of billions of dollars, and they participate. They're now building plants. Honda is building plants, and they're all, every car company from all over the world virtually is building plants now in the United States because they don't want to pay the tariffs. So there's never been anything quite like it. It's been amazing. So we're taking in, think of it, hundreds of billions. Next year it'll be $1 trillion or more. But we're taking in all this money, at the same time protecting our country. And we're respected again. They actually respect us. And they made the deals. I mean, they respect us, but they pay us. As an example, Japan, $650 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. European Union, $950 billion. And they are building plants now in the United States because they don't want to pay tariffs. So this is one of the biggest things economically that's never happened. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And over the next couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large. And yet, other countries who have been ripping us off for many, many years, and many years they've just been ripping us to shreds. China would take in $600-700 billion a year, rebuild their military. And now we have a fair deal with China. We just met with President Xi. We have a great relationship. We have a fair deal. We take in a lot of money in the form of tariffs. But so many, even our friends, I mean, European Union, they're our friends. Japan, they're our friends. South Korea is our friends. They're now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're also paying tariffs to come in. We're not paying tariffs to go in there, by the way. They're paying tariffs, but we're not. So that's a total reversal. But we are benefiting like they used to benefit against us, but we're benefiting even more. So I just want to thank everybody for making all of this possible. Without you, well, you know, we don't have any defense, and boy, do we have defense. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. We make, as I said, the best equipment, but we have, more importantly, we have the strongest military anywhere in the world, and you saw that with Iran, with those beautiful B-2 bombers. They totally obliterated the potential nuclear supply of Iran, and they did it in the dark of night with no moon, no light, no nothing. Early in the morning they attacked. You couldn't see a thing, and every single bomb hit its mark. Every single bomb. The Atomic Energy Commission said it was total obliteration. Remember when some of the fake news tried to say, well, maybe it wasn't as bad. Well, it was much worse than anybody thought. And I want to thank those pilots and all of the mechanics and all of the people that serviced and worked on the B-2 bombers. We just ordered a lot more of them. And the reason we did is they were totally incredible, totally invisible. They were stealth. Nobody saw them. They knew they were coming, but they couldn't see them. And they dropped the bomb, and then one of the pilots, commander, said, skedaddle, let's get the hell out of here. But they dropped those bombs, and they loved doing it. They were so honored. They said to me when they came to I invited them all to the Oval Office, including the people that take care of the machines, because, you know, they flew 37 hours both ways, 37 hours, and there wasn't a sputter from an engine. There wasn't a broken screw. There wasn't a problem. There wasn't a chipped piece of paint. It was a flawless mission. I want to thank General Raisin Kane for that, and Pete Hegseth for that. But it was an unbelievable event. We have a country that's so respected again. But when the pilots came to see me, and I gave them a medal, all of them, there were a lot of handsome people. They looked like Tom Cruise, actually. It was very good casting. But I like Tom Cruise, the last of our movie stars, probably. But although we're honoring Sylvester Stallone a little while at the Kennedy Center, so I'm going to put him in that same category. We have Sylvester Stallone and Tom Cruise. But I will tell you that they said for 22 years, sir, our predecessors and us wanted to make this attack. 22 years they wanted to make this attack. And they practiced it 3 times a year for 22 years, and no president gave them the approval to do it until you came along, sir. We want to thank you. I said, did you really enjoy it? They said, sir, we loved it. We loved it. And these are brave men. These are from a different place than some of the people I know who aren't courageous. We have a lot of people that aren't courageous. These people were amazing in the job they did. So with that, I'm going to ask Lieutenant Colonel Charlie Rockwood, who's a highly respected young man, to speak to you. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them. Unlike Biden, he didn't take questions. But I take all the questions you want. You can ask me any damn question you want. And then we go and have a great Thanksgiving, because I don't know about you. You probably had your dinner already, but I didn't. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to have. Turkey. Okay? I believe it's turkey. So, Lieutenant Colonel, if you would, you take over. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. We're going to pass it over to Major General David Gardner from the United States Army.
Happy Thanksgiving, President Trump. This is Major General Dave Gardner, the commander of the 101st Airborne Division and your Joint Task Force Southern Border.
That's right.
I appreciate you saying I was tough. Everyone cheered. I assume that means they agreed with you. We are headquartered in Arizona. The service members with me today represent over 10,000 deployed along the 2,000 miles of our border from San Diego to the Gulf of America. We support Customs and Border Protection, U.S. Border Patrol, and as you said, Mr. President, illegal aliens entering our country is at a historic low thanks to our collective efforts.
That's right.
On the screen behind me, you may be able to see some of the images of us patrolling, reinforcing the border wall, and we're doing that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including today, Thanksgiving. Our soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, guardians, and Coast Guardsmen were able to have fantastic Thanksgiving meals and engage in traditional football games against each other. We're doing well. We all appreciate you taking some time from your family to speak with us today, and thank you for your support, Mr. President, and happy Thanksgiving.
Well, David, thank you very much. And one thing you said in the question or statement, probably, I like a statement even better than a question, but I like that because you appreciate what we're all doing together. We're partners. But you said the Gulf of America. And there's a thing that for actually 350 years, 100 years older than us, Mexico, it was called Gulf of Mexico. And I would say to myself, why are we calling it Gulf of Mexico when we have 92% of the frontage and they have, I'm a real estate person at heart, and they have 8%. And I made that change. It was amazing. It took literally a matter of hours, and it was done. And nobody even, very rarely did they complain. We beat AP, Associated Press, very badly in a lawsuit. You know, they tried to get it stopped because they're not good Americans. I mean, who would want that stopped? But we beat them, as you saw, we beat them very badly in a lawsuit. But other than that, I mean, we had no complaints, and everybody's happy with it except Mexico. I wouldn't say they're thrilled, but they'll get over it. But we now have the Gulf of America, David, the Gulf of, isn't that great? And I'm very proud of it every time I see it. And now it's spoken of routinely. I saw it before. There was some event taking place down by Louisiana, and they said, we're here at the Gulf of America. And they're just talking about it like routinely now. They're not saying like Gulf of America and smiling. It's just routine. It's called now the Gulf of America. So I'm actually very glad you brought it up. That's another one of our many achievements. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Great job. Please.
Sir, before we go on, do you have any questions for the President?
Yes, Mr. President, this is Sergeant Major Anderson. I do have one question, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you were to place a wager between the Army and Navy football game, who would you put your money on, sir?
You know, David, I think you should dock him. That's a terrible question. That's he'll get me in so much trouble. But I'll tell you what I will do. I'll be going, you know, you have one of those teams is having a spectacular year, and one of them, they're both doing well. But I'll be at the game. And I'm going to let you know right after the game who's going to win. It's going to be a good game, and you're going to be watching it. I'd love it. That's a place where we get a lot of cheers when we go in. You know, we won the military vote in the largest number ever gotten by a president, by far, despite the lies that they said about me. You know, they make up stories of lies. They're disgusting people. But we won the military by the biggest vote in the history of our election. So I like the military, but I like the Navy. And I like the Army a lot, and I'm going to be at the game, and I don't know if you're going to be there. You're pretty far away, but we'll be thinking about, you know, be thinking about that wise guy question you just asked me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, sir. With that, we're going to go over to Major Ross Gilchrist from the United States Marine Corps.
Good evening, Mr. President. The Marines and sailors in this room from Battalion Landing Team 3-6 are ready, capable, and lethal to support readiness and lethality in support of Operation Southern Spear. We're here in Camp Santiago, Puerto Rico, conducting sustainment training, and recently we conducted a mobile training team employing first-person view attack drones, conducting 2 day strikes and the first ever 3 night strikes in the history of the Department of War. This represents a milestone in our combat lethality, increasing the capability of the Marine Corps and the Joint Service. Soon, we're going to prepare to support counter-narcotics operations in the ground, maritime, and air domains and respond to crisis and contingency operations to provide you options, Mr. President, in support of national security objectives to protect our homeland. Marines and sailors of BLT 3-6, the Hellhounds, are ready. We're the first to fight and at the tip of the spear as an expeditionary force in readiness. Thank you for your support, Mr. President. Semper Fidelis. Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you, Ross, and you people are just amazing. You do a fantastic. I knew every move And every single thing you said, I know exactly what you did and who did it, and I want to just thank you. You were amazing. And Border Patrol and all of the people here, Border Patrol, every single one of them, these are great people. ICE, ICE gets not the credit they deserve. They are unbelievable, tough, smart, and they're unbelievable patriots. So, Ross, thank you very much. You really have done a great job. We appreciate it. We love working with you. Thank you.
Ross, before we go over to the Navy, do you have any questions for the President?
Good afternoon, sir. The only proper response to the Colonel from Fort Huachuca is "Go Navy, beat Army."
Okay, I got to remember that. Thank you very much. They're going to have a great game. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. With
Yes,
that,
sir.
We're going to move over to Captain Chris Farraker from the United States Navy.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, on board here, Iwo Jima, proud commander of the Iwo Jima Amphibious Readiness Group, along with the 22nd MEU Expeditionary. You already met my one brother from Central Casting, Colonel Tom Trimble, and my other brother is Colonel Rick Shooter Haley. Behind me is a few of the men and women who comprise the 10,000 sailors and Marines of our Iwo ARD team, who are currently conducting maritime patrols against narcos in the Caribbean in defense of the homeland.
Yes, sir. As you know, that we have also, besides the missions that you know about, sir, we also reinforce the embassy in Haiti. We're getting engaged on a routine basis, both receiving fire from some of those gang members and returning fire, defending that embassy. We've also opened up operations down here in the south, conducting expeditionary advanced base operations at Roosevelt Roads, where Major Ross Gilcrease and the team are currently training. We've also done, as you mentioned, Mr. President, humanitarian support to Jamaica. We're proud to be part of this Navy Marine Corps team and be part of the defense of the homeland, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and really great job. Would anybody?
Sir, I'd like to say more.
Yes, go ahead, please.
The First Lady came down to North Carolina last week and visited the Marines and Sailors, Camp Lejeune, and my wife and my daughter and my two sons were able to meet the First Lady and get a picture with her. She was truly gracious, and we really appreciate the time that she spent with the Marines and Sailors. That meant a whole lot to a whole lot of people down in North Carolina, sir.
Well, thank you very much. And she had enjoyed it, and she mentioned that, meeting your family. And she said those people are in good shape. They're in very good shape. I don't know if she's referring to me when she says that, because I don't know. That could be a little slight. But she was very impressed with everything she saw. Thank you very much.
Sir, before we go to the Navy, Captain Farraker, do you guys have any questions for the President?
I do have one selfish one, sir. My daughter's 9th birthday is here in a few days. I was wondering if I could get a happy birthday, Catherine, from you, sir.
And her first name is?
Catherine, sir.
Well, Catherine, you have a father who's a great hero and a great man and highly respected. Happy birthday, and take good care of him.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Say hello to her.
All right,
Anybody back there have a question?
I think that's it from us here, sir. Again, appreciate your time and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Putting a pause in the call between President Trump and U.S. troops from last night's Thanksgiving call. Let's take a break on Live Impact News on WCNC+. Back here now at 2:39 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll get you back out to the president, his comments and call with U.S. troops from last night on Thanksgiving on Live Impact News.
Thanksgiving, Mr. President. I'm Colonel Seth Spanier, 7th Bomb Wing Commander, and here with me I have Lieutenant Colonel Brian Guyette, our 28th Bomb Squadron Commander, and Major Joseph Spada, our 28th Bomber Generation Squadron Commander. And we're here representing the 4,000 men and women stationed at Dyess Air Force Base in Texas, employing the mighty B-1.
Good evening, sir. The Bomb Wing hosts multiple B-1 squadrons that are responsible for everything from training the world's best combat aviators to operational test, in addition to projecting strength and lethality across the globe. Recently, the Bomb Wings Combat Squadron was forward deployed to the Indo-Pacific, and the men and women that you see behind me were part of the 28th Bomb Squadron and fellow squadrons that executed operations in the Caribbean, and were responsible for demonstrating the latent combat capability of the training squadron, in addition to projecting credibility into the Caribbean on behalf of the long-range strike platform, the B-1B.
Well,
It is currently off station at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada.
Thank you very much. And I don't know if you know, we have more planes on order in terms of dollars and planes itself, and they have a new one, the F-47, and I didn't name that. It was named F-47. They think I named it. I didn't. They surprised me, but I hear it's stage 6, and it's at a level that nobody's ever seen before. But we have more planes on order right now and things in the works than we've ever had. So from the Air Force's standpoint, I know you know exactly what's on order because we dealt with you and what you like. But we've never had so many planes being built at one time, and we're reinvigorating everything. I know the F-35 has been very good, and we're working on some maintenance issues to get some of them back sooner, as you know, because some of them are out, and rather than having them sit there, we're getting them fixed. Should have happened a long time ago. But we've never been in the position where we've ordered so many, and I think the Air Force has to be very happy about that.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Good, thank you. And if you have any questions, please go ahead from your group.
Good evening, Mr. President, and happy Thanksgiving. I'm
Thank you.
Senior Airman Laurent. I'm an intel analyst at the 28th Bomb Squadron. My question for you today is, what is the most memorable obstacle or hardship that you've encountered in your life, and how did this shape you to be the leader you are today?
Well, that's an interesting question. But I'll tell you, in terms of obstacles, would be the weaponization of government by the previous administration. That was probably the biggest obstacle. I won by a lot. I ran a second time, I won by a lot. And I ran a third time, and it was too big to rig. But the biggest was that. They went after a lot of great Americans. I was one of them. And I would say weaponization by my opponent was a disgrace to our nation. And I would say it was the most difficult time. And we won. And now today I'm in Florida, but generally I'm in the White House, I'm in the Oval Office, so I look around and say, oh, well, couldn't have been that bad, but it was. It was a disgrace to our nation, and it should never be allowed to happen again, and it's being looked at very strongly. But it's a very interesting question. I don't know that anybody's ever asked me the question that way. But if you did, I would say it was the weaponization and illegal weaponization that they used where our government attacked the president and the former president of the United States of America, and I was fighting for you, not just for myself. I was fighting for you. I was fighting for everyone that I'm looking, all of those incredible patriots that I'm looking at, but the millions of people that are listening right now and the hundreds of millions of people in our country, and we fought and we won, but they're bad people. So thank you. That's a great question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, with that, sir, one last one. If you could throw up CHOP, it's our to the Mohawks. That's our squadron motto, CHOP.
Oh, good. I love it. CHOP. See, we're not allowed to do that anymore. We're not allowed. You're not allowed to use the word Indian anymore. The only one that wants you to are the Indians, all right? I don't think you should ever change. I will never tell you to change, all right? It's great. And they're very proud of it too, by the way. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Sir, we're going to turn it over to Captain Ryan Weber from the Space Force.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Captain Ryan Weber, and I'm the commander of the 18th Space Defense Combat Squadron. Today with me, I have Delta Crew. They're working the holiday swing shift right now, which is led by Lieutenant Cunningham and Sergeant Jackson. We also have 5 orbital analysts with us today. Our mission here at the 18th is space domain awareness, tracking everything to, in, and from space, whether that's a launch, satellite reentry, or maintaining the catalog of 48,000 objects in space. It's been a historical year for 2025. We've had over 273 space launches to this year, 174 of those being from the U.S. And we're just grateful for our newly operationally accepted system to lead the way for the world in space domain awareness.
Well, I know all about it because that was my baby, Space Force. So I can't say I have any favorites because I don't want to do that. But I'll tell you, I have a real love for Space Force. And as you know, I did that. We put some very good people in because we were losing to China and Russia substantially. And now we're leading China and Russia substantially. And as you know, Biden came in, he wanted to terminate Space Force. He thought it was funny. He thought it was so funny. The military didn't think it was funny, and he was met with a great force. And the force said, you're not doing this. But I think it's going to go down as one of our most important, as technology goes. The things we're doing now in space are unbelievable, and I think it'll be one of the truly great things that this administration did. I did it in my last term. But we really had great people there, and we're dominating space now. We're dominating it. We were losing it to both China and Russia at the time. We had no Space Force. And so we created this incredible group of people that came together, and they created something very special. And I'm very proud of all of you for being involved. It's going to be one of the most important things I think that I've ever done. Thank you.
Ryan, before we move on to the Coast Guard, does anybody from your team have a question for the President?
The one question I would have, sir, is what do you see for the future for the Space Force? How do you expect it to grow as we build out as a branch?
Yeah, I just think it's unlimited. I think it's, in terms of technology, in terms of, the others have been here for a long time. And Air Force has been, and I could have left it in the Air Force, but I really thought it should have its own identity. And it works closely with the Air Force, but you wouldn't have had your own identity, and I don't think it was working doing it that way. So we created, because of the importance, we created Space Force. And I think it's got unlimited growth potential, and maybe at a faster level than others, because they have been here. They've seeded, and they're doing great. But you're a seedling. You're just at the beginning of your powers. It's going to be unlimited future. Really, I feel that. And I think you agree with that. But it's going to be unlimited future. And thank you all for being involved. Very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the 18th, thank you for your support and happy Thanksgiving.
Well, you have my support totally. And you too. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much.
So to round it out, we're going to go over to Lieutenant Commander Alex Wild, United States Coast Guard.
Good evening, Mr. President. Lieutenant Commander Alex Wild, Commanding Officer of Coast Guard Cutter Force Red Knauer. We're currently patrolling the southwest border off of the coast of California in support of Operation Border Trident to protect the maritime boundary. With a crew of 25, our fast response cutter has contributed to mission success in securing the border, as you mentioned. Last month alone, we had 3 at-sea interdictions and apprehended 45 illegal aliens. I'd like to recognize, to my right, the boarding team and pursuit team from our most recent interdiction. To my right, Lieutenant Junior Grade Fuller, Bosun Mate First Class Garcia Cosby, Electrician's Mate First Class Areza, Bosun's Mate Third Class Gerhards, and Machinery Technician Second Class Simano. We've had a real nice day, as you said. It's been pretty quiet on the water, to be honest. Our 2 culinary specialists gave us a real treat today for Thanksgiving by smoking 2 turkeys. And this evening we'll be trying to have some trivia here on the mess deck. We're truly grateful for this opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I've loved the Coast Guard for a long time, and more than anything else, all the lives you saved in Texas and various places. All of these places that got hit by the hurricanes and all of the different, the storms, the big water storms, as they call them, but mostly hurricanes. The jobs you do, the way you go into those seas, I wouldn't want to do it. You want to do it, but I wouldn't want to do it. And I just want to thank you for that. As you know, we've ordered a lot of Coast Guard cutters, brand new, beautiful, the best machines in the world, the fastest, the best maneuverability. They tell me. I said, how's the speed and the maneuverability? I'm a looks person. I wanted the hull to be perfect. I sort of redesigned the hull a little bit, the hulls. But we ordered a lot, and we're ordering icebreakers too that you're going to be in charge of. We have 11 of them being built right now. We had none. We only have one in the whole country. Russia has 48, and we have one. And that's just ridiculous. So we're doing them in conjunction with Finland and some other people, and they make the big, they're known as the people that do, I guess, 90% of the icebreakers, so they have a great expertise. But we're doing them also as a joint venture where they're going to be built in this country, and they've already started. So we've ordered 11. You were going to build one, and the one was going to cost almost as much as the 11. And every one of the 11 is much better than the one. So that didn't sound like a good deal. So you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting the best icebreakers in the world, the top of the line, and they're going to be delivered very soon, actually. They're moving along very quickly. They're building them. And you'll end up with 11, but before we even start that, we're going to end up doing another 11 pretty soon. So you're going to have a lot of icebreakers pretty soon, which is very important. I assume, is that important for the Coast Guard? Because if it's not, I'll cancel the order immediately.
Very important. Yes.
Okay, good. Then I won't cancel the order. That's good. You're going to have the best icebreakers there are, so it's really great. Very important to us. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
I'm Petty Officer Riza. First question is, what is your true golf handicap to not according to fake news? And are you and President Biden going to play that golf match?
I'd love to. I mean, I've invited him, but he doesn't want to show up. Look, I know a lot about golf. I've won 38 club championships, and I don't get to practice much. I won one last year. I won a club championship at a big club, beating a 27-year-old kid. I said, I'm decades older than you. But I said, the fairway doesn't know how old you are as you walk up the middle and he's in the rough. And I've been a good golfer over the years. When you win, club championships are our majors. You know that. Most people can't play in them. They won't. We're talking about no strokes or anything else. So I'm a very low handicap, and I've won 38 of them legitimately, everyone legitimately. It has to be legitimate because you have a lot of people following you during club championships, as you know. So I guess I'm very... I got to be right around scratch or better. I beat a +3. That's 3 better, 3 below par. If you look at it, for those that don't know, in the finals of the club championship last year, with all I was going through, and with no practice. So I'm a good golfer. Yeah, I would have to say that. I want to be honest. I have to be honest. I played with Bryson DeChambeau on his, the Breaking 50, and we had a good time. But a lot of people thought that was a great ratings hit, and we had a lot of fun. But golf is great. It's sort of a microcosm of life, and you have a lot of people talk, but they can't play. Like Biden. Biden can't hit a ball 30 yards. I'm telling you. I looked at his swing. He cannot hit a ball 30 yards. He said he was a 6 handicap. He said that was the only thing that made me angry during the debate with him. He said he was a 6. I said, you're not a 6. And he said, well, I'm an 8. I said, that was quick. I picked up 2. But he's not 100. He's not 100. So, but it's a great game, and I hope you guys get to play a little bit of it. But frankly, I'm more excited about the icebreakers, if you want to know the truth. So anyway, I want to thank you all. Great job. Coast Guard, great job. We're proud of you. You're going to have the best equipment in the world, and it's coming rapidly. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for support, President.
So that concludes the presentations. If you have any closing remarks, that'll be it.
Well, I do have closing remarks. I just want to say how proud I am. You look at the people that we just dealt with. These are the top people in our country. These are just beautiful people inside and out. They're brave, they're smart, they're brilliant. And I just want to say it's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be working with you. We have the strongest country we've ever had. We make the best equipment in the world. We have the best military in the world. Nobody can even come close, and everybody knows it, and they respect us now again. A year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, they didn't respect us at all. They laughed at us. Nobody's laughing anymore. So I just want to thank you all very much. I'm very proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. We can cut that then. You can cut that. Hello.
Mr. President, good to see you. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
A question about this tragic shooting in Washington, D.C. U.S. officials say that the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other, and that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
Your DOJ IG just reported this year that there was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked, there were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go, we were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake. But they were incompetent, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you for having us here tonight. Have you spoken with Sarah and Andrew's family?
We have a call in a little while, actually, right after this.
Do you plan to...
Well, the family is devastated, as you can imagine. But we have spoken. I mean, my people have spoken with the family. We'll be speaking tonight, tomorrow. You have to give them a little... They just found out about their daughter. You know, you can't just call 2 seconds later.
Yeah, of course.
It's a very, very tough situation.
Obviously,
she was so outstanding. I mean, I just heard outstanding in every single way.
It's in the early stages, obviously, here, but do you plan to attend Sarah's funeral?
I haven't thought about it yet, but it certainly is something I could conceive of. I love West Virginia. You know, I won West Virginia by one of the biggest margins of any president anywhere. And it's, you know, these are great people. I love the people of West Virginia. I love the people of our country. But I haven't given it any thought, but it sounds like something I could do, yeah. It's very raw.
Yeah, of course. The suspect does have a wife and 5 children who live in Washington. Do you plan to deport them?
The suspect has?
The suspect?
Well, we're looking at that right now. We're looking at the whole situation with family. It's a tragic situation. Yeah, Jeff?
Mr. President, are there any changes you want to make to improve safety for National Guardsmen who are being sent into these cities?
No, just I want to have more. As you know, we're sending 500 more. We had very little crime.
All right, and that was last night's call with U.S. troops from President Trump as he's wrapping that up. Want to bring you a breaking news update on today's report from the Department of Health out of South Carolina. They have learned of new cases of the measles. Let me just read this to you. 7 new cases of measles since Tuesday. That brings the total number now in the upstate, where most of the cases have been reported, to 62. Total number this year to 65. Also giving one public exposure quarantine notice, one notification to report if you were at the Costco on Tuesday, November 18th between 9:30 and 1 and do not have immunity through vaccination. They say